Welcome back to some new malicious compliance stories, where people comply to the letter but not the spirit of a request. I hope you had a great day. The first story is called Fire Them. I was shopping in my city and went into a small business store. I like to get my dice and tabletop games at that store. I frequent the store pretty often and have become acquainted with the owner. We chat during my visits, and as I'm one of those I put the items back on the shelf after I'm done looking at them type of person, it is understandable that this lady might have confused me with an employee. The owner only has one employee who wasn't in that day, and the store isn't too big, easily manageable for one person alone, with no uniform, just name tags. The following conversation ensues. I am looking for this game. I don't think they have it here, but the lady cuts me off. Then where can I get it? Sorry, I don't know, but how can you not know? Do your job and tell me. The owner joins us due to the commotion. Sorry, is there a problem? Are you the manager? Your employee here refuses to tell me where I can find this game. You should fire them. The owner looks at me, smirks, and puts on his best customer care voice and tells me, "You are hired." The lady was confused. I was catching on. "Oh, cool, thanks." Then he asked me, "You refused to help this lady?" And I said, "Sure did." So he said, "You are fired." Ah, dang. Then the owner turns to the lady. "Now, what did you need again?" Never seen someone look that much like a fish and then huff and puff out of a store. Honestly, one of the best encounters of my life. The next story is called The Cat and the Bird. I work at an answering service. It's a company that handles the phones for several companies, like plumbing companies, construction companies, and a few others. We handle the phones and take messages for them and text them out to the people working. Onto my terrible boss. She is absolutely a greedy, horrible person and has no shame about it. She owns the answering service and also owns 5 other houses, one of which she rents out to someone. The office for the company is in shambles. The carpet was ruined from years of being walked on with no upkeep. The walls have holes in them, and the computers and equipment are incredibly old. She only has barely enough computers working for the employees to work on. There are maybe 10 or 12 old computers stacked up in the corner that don't work anymore. She also treats the employees terribly. We will have 10 to 15 calls coming in at a busy time with one employee working, and she won't lift a finger to help. She'll just tell the employee to hurry up and yell at them when they can't handle the workload. Earlier this week, the computer at my station stopped working. I'm pretty sure it can be fixed, but my boss doesn't want to get it fixed. So instead of getting the computer fixed, she told me to go work out in one of her houses with a computer that has the necessary programs and equipment. The house she wanted me to go to is actually about 10 minutes closer to where I live compared to where the office is. So whatever, I didn't make a big deal about it. She had me sign a non-disclosure form to not tell anyone about her house and included that I was not allowed to touch anything in the house. I was only allowed to touch the equipment that involved work. Again, I just thought whatever and just signed it. I'm sitting at the desk earlier this week and it was super slow, so I was reading a book. Then I noticed her cat coming in from the doggy door with a dead bird in her mouth. So I call my boss and the call goes like this. "Hey, so your cat just walked in and it had..." The boss instantly started to scream, "Don't you dare touch my cat." But the cat, "If you touch my cat, I will fire you. You hear me?" "Yeah, alright." Then I hung up, and I did absolutely nothing about it. On my way out, I glanced down the hallway and saw a pile of feathers all over her bed, which I laughed so hard at. I'm finishing up school in the next couple of months, so I'm biting the bullet and finishing off before I quit, since I don't want to find another part-time job for a month. But when I quit, you bet I'm going to tell someone about the work violations. The third story is called Required Change. Years ago, I worked at a convenience store, and this store handled a lot of cash. We had a sign stating bills over $20 were only accepted with manager's approval. In practice, we could accept them after using the detector pen and visual inspection. We also had a policy that we had to keep the cash in the drawer under a certain amount. We had a safe system to make drops and get change, but it had limits and timers when dispensing. Depending on what was needed, it could take 30 minutes to make the change for a $100 bill. I was solo on graveyard, kept my drawer low, and didn't have to request change often. The drawer had 5 slots for bills and 5 pockets for coins, but we only kept 1s, 5s, 10s and 20s in the slots. The other bills and checks were put under until we had enough for a drop. The extra coin pocket was used for dollar coins, half-dollar coins, coins people left. Some people would tell us to keep the change, etc. If someone was a few cents short, we'd use the spare change. I kept my drawer under the limit. When I was on the graveyard, I was solo and kept my drawer very low and didn't have to request change often. One night, one of our odd regulars came in and bought a bunch of stuff. He paid with Sacagawea dollar coins. They didn't fit in the safe tubes, so I had to keep them in the drawer. It was just over $100 in coins. I spread it out over all the slots, so that one side wouldn't get too heavy, as the drawer would stick if it was too lopsided. I also made a lot of charges for payphones, the air and water machines, people buying items to get change for laundry, etc. I was down to 3 $1 bills, the Sacagawea dollar coins, 0 quarters, a few dimes and some nickels, and a bunch of pennies. A guy comes in and comes up to the register with a 10-cent candy. He slaps a $100 bill on the counter. I asked him if he will be getting anything else, and he says no. I ask if he has anything smaller, and he again says no. So I tell him, don't worry then, the candy is on the house, I can use the have a penny leave a penny money. He gets mad and says he won't take charity, and I need to make change for him. I try to explain that I don't have the cash in my drawer, and it would take 30 minutes to get the change, but he keeps interrupting and not listening. He yells, "You are required by law to take my legal tender and make change for me right now," all full of attitude and jerkiness. So I say okay. He acts smug like he wants something when I pick up the bill. I pull out my detector pen and he starts moaning. I use the pen in view of the camera. Then I hold the bill up to inspect it in view of the camera. I then put the bill in a safe tube to drop it, as we were supposed to drop large bills on graveyard before even opening the drawer, then make the slip and drop that after. The customer is still standing there, smugly grumbling, and I enter the amount tendered into the register. Now the counter is raised and the drawer is just below the counter, so it's out of reach of the customer, unless they lean and reach. It also doesn't pop open like usual this time, because of the weight of the coins. I open the drawer and push the 3 singles back in their slots, so that the customer can see them, even if he leans over to look in the drawer. He's being dramatic and turning to make a show of how long he is waiting, and can you believe this, to an audience of no one. So he doesn't notice at first that I am pulling out all those coins. I pull out the 88 cents or so in change, mostly nickels, and then start pulling out the Sacagawea dollar coins and putting them on the counter. He turns around and sees the coins and asks, "What the heck is this?" So I tell him, I am required by law to accept legal tender and make change. You are required by law to accept legal tender as change. This is what I have available. He continues having a fit, saying, "You should have told me." I tell him, "I tried explaining, sir, but you interrupted and insisted that I make change." And with that I go back to counting out the 99 Sacagawea dollar coins. He is silent for a bit and then asks, "How the heck am I supposed to get this home?" I told him I am not responsible for his change after I give it to him. He eventually gathers it up in his shirt and slinks off. The last story is called £3 Exactly. I work in the meat department at a regionalized grocery store. At our store, the meat department and the seafood department are right next to each other. So if the person working the seafood counter is on break, the person at meat covers for them and vice versa. The person working the seafood counter was on break and a customer walks up to the counter. I go up to them with the usual, "Hi, how are you today? What can I get for you, etc." The customer wants £3 of salmon. I say no problem. I go grab a fillet, weigh it to price it, and it comes out to about 2.9 pounds, and I ask if that is okay. Now, most of the time the customer will go, "That's fine." I go price it up and go back to what I was doing. But not this customer. I said £3. I want £3. Cue malicious compliance. "Okay sir, if you want £3, you'll get £3. So I go get another salmon fillet from the case. Cut off a sliver of it, so little that you can't cook it. You can barely give it to your pet. It's basically gonna get thrown out. But with that sliver of salmon, it came out to £3. Was it worth it, the extra $2 he spent? Thanks for watching the video. I hope you enjoyed it. If you did, please consider subscribing to the channel for more content. Let me know what you think about the stories in the comment section below. Have a great day. Bye bye.